plan for today, if I can get past all these bins, is to head up the northeast coast to John O'Groats and across the top of Scotland, if I can find my way out of Wick. There's a plan to find a castle on the way up the coast, but unfortunately every direction I get from Google seems to send me down a manor house road or a gated road or a farm road, but we'll see what we can find. $1889, so I was going to say not that old. Why is there another one there? A broch is an old Scottish word for a stone roundhouse, this one being about 2,000 years old. There's this rugged beauty to the place, but also something harsh and unforgiving about it, especially on a day so grey. Can't help but imagine the shipwrecks, the people who work out in the ocean, how hard that is, how hard living up here is in general, but it is stunning. This is the roundhouse. Like a double layer. Wow. Now this was first excavated over 120 years ago. That's about as much as I'll claim to know, but it's obviously been a while since the last excavation was here. I wonder how many people lived in something this size. The camera won't do it any justice, but it's 15 feet across. There's your entryway. Something different about today from the other days is we've got this place to ourselves. Haven't seen anyone walking around here, dogs, nothing. Back to the castle hunting, and the map takes me down a weird farm road. I realise I'm going to have to turn around in this mud if I'm going to get out of here. There better be a castle at the end of this. Sadly, the farmers decided I'm not going to go any further. Right, time to make a few miles, literally 4. The place we're heading to now, Duncansby Head, should have some interesting views, but while John O'Groats is kind of celebrated as the most northern point, and Land's End the southern, but Land's End is really the westerly point, Lizard Point is the southern one. So as in the south, in the north they've kind of got it wrong. The furthest place from Land's End, by a couple of miles more than John O'Groats, is Duncansby Point, I think. And nobody seems to know about it, so we're going to go have a look. And then we'll check out John O'Groats and get a picture with the site. So this is what a lot of Highland roads look like. It's single lane with passing places. So you really have to pay attention to who's coming the other way and who can stop first. Thankfully, I will say that most of the cars let the motorcycles through quite easily.
The Orkney ferry's docked here, and you can see it's pretty scarred up for a boat that started life in the mid-80s.
Dunnet Bay, that's where we are, and we're going to take a look at the beach, and it looks pretty impressive from here. Okay, who is driving that car here? German. So this is Dunnet Sands. About 10 miles west of John O'Groats on the north coast. And there are 3.5 people here and 1 dog.
A quick stop in Thurso to find some warmer socks, and believe me, it is essential up here. Leads me to a fly fishing store with interesting contents and a lot of flies. Question why these recycling bins are positioned in the middle of nowhere. Safe to say that Scottish people may like a drink. Now it's rush hour.
Too much to hope that that was a burger van.
The famous British red phone box phased out in the 90s in most places. Some of them still survive up here and still working.
I think this might be the Moyne House, which I mean, it's a wreck now, but it's missing the roof and everything. It was a house for travellers who crossed this land in the late 1800s, because this is 20 miles of wet, boggy marsh. So this was a free place, so people could rest for the night, get some food, and continue on their journey. It's known as the Moyne House.
Loch Erebol was also known in World War II as Loch Horrible by the servicemen stationed here, where 33 German U-boats surrendered. I hadn't really realised, but with so much daylight around, I hadn't paid attention to the time. So when I turned up in Durness, the local shop was closed. It was 7 p.m. The hotel was full. There was a campsite, but I didn't have a tent. So I toyed with the idea of pushing on into the darkness, which would have been a supremely bad move. But I did manage to find a space at the lodge house, which was far too posh for the likes of me, but did have a roaring fire. I walked across the fields to find dinner at the hotel and made my way back to the lodge, only to find that the weather had been just as predictable as ever.